Hello and welcome back. As you can see, I've moved the engine sheds there. This is just for a little bit of maintenance. I've had to replace one of the points in the crossover, number 7R there under the bridge. It's been playing up for a while. It's been very, very sticky, so I've had to lift the track a little bit, undo a few soldered joints and fish plates and so on. But I think firstly we'll have a bit of a run. Some footage I shot earlier in the week, which I think was quite fun one evening. So I've got the Black 5 in LMS livery here. This is from about 77, 78. We saw it run a few weeks ago. I've got it with a mixed rake of LMS coaches and Caledonian coaches, all from the early 70s. So it's running nice and smoothly around the inside line. And then I've got the wonderful Coronation running around the railway here. So that's model number R871 from 71 to 74. And it's got these lovely plated wheels on it. I was lucky enough to get these Coronation Scott type coaches, just the three of them there, so I think that makes a very interesting rate. And I've got that charging around the outside line at sort of express train speeds. So we'll just follow that around a bit. Excuse the mess of wiring on the floor there. These things tend to happen. So it makes a terrific noise when they're running together. Here comes the Coronation, through the curves and then down the long straight and over that diamond. At this speed I don't think we'll have any sort of hesitation whatsoever. So I'm sort of keeping my fingers crossed that these Coronation Scott coaches, they come from the early 2000s, they've got quite fine wheels on them, so hopefully we'll have no derailments. There's that lovely Black 5. Very smooth runner. Tender drive. I know a lot of people don't like the tender drives, but I sort of view them as they must have been such a revelation at the time when they came along compared to what had gone before. So I know models have changed quite a lot since then, and they do have their problems. Lovely front end on that model. Got Pullman sitting on the right there. And now we've just jumped to the inside of the railway. You can see there's lovely handrails on there. They're the earlier style. Later they had little sort of plastic clasps to hold them on. Nice few of the Caledonian coach there with the grey roofs. They were the later issue. There's the earlier ones with the white or the cream roofs, I think, came from the early 60s. Snaking round past the signal box there. And here comes the Coronation again, tearing down the outside straight there. So we'll get a bit of an elevated view, I think. We'll look down on it. Such an impressive looking model. It looks quick even when it's standing still. It's a lovely clatter of those wheels. They do stand out being quite shiny there. My blue Coronation has black wheels, just steel tyres on it. This one's got plated ones. So we seem to have lost the Black 5. It must be coming around the corner any second now. Here she is, past the fuel tanks and under the bridge. That's the 0.7R there, the ones I'm in the middle of taking out now. So we're on Sunday the 20th of March. So when I decided to take up this work, and as we'll see, it sort of ended up taking me most of the day in the end. But this footage I shot earlier in the week, along with a little bit more which we're going to see a bit later on. View of the controller and the uncoupler and edge of the switches there. Again, remember that's tender drive. So a nice free running set of wheels on there. And away she goes. There's a quick look at the point before it gets pushed back into place. And now I've got the track down but not pinned down. I haven't got the extra feeds put back in yet, but that class 29 seems to be making quite light work of the points there, which is what I was hoping for, really. Smoothly through there. Give the switches a good go. So that 0.7R is not sticking anymore at all. So I was frightened I was going to burn out the motor. Then we've got the Duchess of Sutherland. And then back through she goes. That seems to be working quite nicely. And a reliable class 31 there. This one's got the extra pickups on it. And then we'll try something a bit more ambitious. We've got the Mallard there. I think that's from the late 70s. We saw that running a few weeks ago with a whole bunch of coaches, all silver seal wheels. So we'll back that through there, cautiously. And that tender has been a bit temperamental sometimes because it's got the floating wheel on the back of it, sort of slightly articulated. 8-wheel tender. Switch the point, and then we'll run them through and see how all those silver seals do come in through there. It's looking pretty impressive so far. And then I think we should try coming backwards through them. Just notice the buffer heads are sort of painted silver on that last Pullman there. All remarkably well behaved. And we're just jumping back to some more footage I shot earlier in the week, which I think is quite fun. We've got this lovely Pullman from the set 1974. It was R538. I believe it was only available this year, so the centre coaches are quite hard to come by. I've yet to find an additional one. But quite a lovely item. Very sort of bright blue, very prominent with those yellow ends. So we'll get that coming around the layout. So we're going to catch up with another great looking train running around the railway at the moment. We've got the Winston Churchill R356. It's the sort of battered and bruised one I've got, and it's got its smoke unit removed. And I've got some southern coaches from the late 70s there. And here she comes, making very light work of it. Very powerful model, this. So I've had them running around for a bit. I haven't shown all the footage I've shot, but it takes them quite a long time to catch up with each other. But I think as we come round the other side here, we should be in luck. Again into that curve, and we'll come past the tankers, and we've got both trains in shot now. I thought this was quite nice. Getting the tail and the nose of one in the other. Perhaps I didn't quite say that right, but I think you may know what I mean. It's a lovely shot as the Winston Churchill chases the Pullman there. And they split around the signal box and back around again. Lovely whine coming from that Pullman. And the Winston Churchill just sounds so solid on the rails. Those southern style coaches there. Terrific. And we'll have a look at those silo wagons running with a bit of footage shortly, I think. Off they go round again. Splitting around the station. And we'll just follow them, let them come back around in front of camera here, but I don't think they're going to come in alongside each other as I remember it. Yeah, no, the Winston Churchill's off in front. Now for a little bit of a more ambitious test for that crossover. We've got the Ginty here. This is an R52 long-running model, first coming along in the early 50s, I think. With those great looking silo wagons. They were R125, again from the late 70s. We've just got to fiddle with the points now. Nice reassuring click there. Not quite what the engine sheds are for, but I'm sure it's perfectly alright. So we'll back these around. Lots of sets of wheels here. Got the brake van there, RO16 on the end. Lovely noise they all make on the rails. That lead wagon there just seems to be pushing up on the couplings, I think, as it goes back. I hadn't quite noticed that before I was looking at the footage. So let's bring them through the point work and see how they do. We'll just keep an eye on that lead wagon. I think it's just dropped back onto the rails there. Yeah, so that looks all pretty good to me. And I think for good measure we should just back through them again. Makes a great shape coming through there. So it's time to put some of these things back, I think, and get all tidied up. So we've ended up being in a bit of a mess. Had the soldering iron out, had to take the connections to the power supply out here to get the track up, I think I mentioned earlier. So I've got that all resoldered back in down here, and there was another one further back there. In the end we had to release those a little bit, so we've got all things that need to be put back to the other side of the room over there. Got soldering iron and bits and pieces everywhere. So I think, just to finish off with, we'll just move these engine sheds out of the way over here, and now we'll swap that Ginty for the Class 31. So these are a little dusty as well, so I'll probably take the opportunity to give those a clean. I have cleaned up the track here as well, so that was a good opportunity to give this a light cleaning. So I think we'll just not over worry about these things where they're standing for now, and we'll just see if we can get a bit of running in before it's time to finish. We've seen a good few models on the move in one way or another today. Footage shot earlier in the week, so it was quite enjoyable. So let's just pop these down here. Yeah, definitely a bit of a clean needed there. So I think if we grab the power controller here, we'll bring the Ginty. Actually, we'll switch points 7R. We'll keep her on the inside for now. Let's bring that around. There we go. Let's see if we can uncouple that. I've got an uncoupler line somewhere here. So I got bogged down in this. I hadn't really thought it was going to eat up most of my Sunday. We're getting on for mid-Sunday afternoon now. So at least it's something practical out of the way and done. I've been sort of putting that off for ages. I think we mentioned that earlier. But this is another point here which it's lost its spring now, and that keeps popping off, so that's for another day. But again, I'll have to relieve the track back into the curve there to release that. That's definitely one for another day, but I think that's enough moving of track for one day. So we'll pop this on, motor buggy towards the wagons, I think. Just thought it'd be good to see this pull these wagons. Struggling there. I think we're all on. Yeah, that sounds convincing. So let's see if we can back that up. A little power. There we have it. I think what we'll do is we'll send that over the elevated section. So I'm balancing the controller on the edge again. Let's just move a couple of things out of the way. And we need to open up that one. Actually, if I zoom in on the camera, not particularly on the bench there, but if I hold that over there, we'll be able to see the colour light signal perhaps go. I always try and do this and get the catenary wire in the way. We get the point and the light signal in. There we go. And number 3G on the other end, no colour light signal associated with this one. So the one over there just helps me try and remember which way round it was. I think probably we should have a look at the point I took out. I'll just widen that a bit. So yeah, this had become, I think I mentioned earlier in the video, this one had become unreliable. I think you'll have remembered me perhaps wondering why the points were still open on one half of that crossover. And there's the tie bar here which holds the two blades together. So it sometimes gets jammed at an angle when that throws, and it was just would not throw. So I don't know, it wasn't like that when it went in, but I'm thinking perhaps just with wear and it's points definitely had a bit of life before it came to me. All this stuff second hand, at least. So yeah, I think one of these blades are quite wobbly as well. So yeah, probably should have replaced that quite some time ago. But we'll save that for another day perhaps. It's got a spring in there, perhaps we could take that out and use it elsewhere. So put that with the rest of the points there in the box. And I just had this out earlier on as well. I never did get to run this in today's video. I was going to. So this is a HST. It's not the one we've seen on the railway before. This one my son had, and we've got a motor in each end of this one. So I did have it running on I think it was a long time ago. I can't remember how long ago. But I was going to convert this one over for 01 and perhaps put LED conversion in the front for the lamps instead. So that was one of my plans. So when we get the 01 plugged in, there's the block from the bogie where we put the extra motor in. I can't remember which end was the dummy end at this point now, but we'll get that on the go at some point. Yeah, so it's a lovely thing to run. I think originally the layout I had, which was System 6 and Super 4 in the centre with the catenary, I ran that such a long time ago, and that was quite good fun with the motor on both ends of that. So getting sidetracked now. Let's get this up and over the top perhaps. So everything's in the way. Let's give this a little power now. Step back and get a slightly wider view. I thought I'd move that wagon a little further away. I think it is quite safe. It's not interfering with the wagons on the rails there. Sorry, I'm just almost tripping over my feet there. So loads of power available in this particular model. Got the magnet adhesion. I think it looks terrific with these wagons. I don't know why I didn't run it with these before. So there we go. Down the incline now. See if we can have a slightly more elevated view. Back onto level ground. And this has the extra pickup on the dummy bogie, this model. So I'm not expecting too much of a stutter on the diamond crossing. Let's have a quick look at that as she goes over. Yeah, pretty good. And I think we're almost back round. Sorry, I wasn't watching what I was doing then. Yeah, so we've got all the points in the right direction there. And then pretty much back to where we started. But on the outside line. So if I flip a couple of points, we can bring that back through onto the inside. So 1B. Let's see if that point will behave itself. So that's the one minus its spring. And 2B. So it always takes longer than you think once you start removing track to try and do something. And we'll just move this shunter's wagon out of the way. This has been on the railway for ages. So let's definitely move that out of the way. And we'll close down the elevated section, I think. This definitely has turned into a bit of a ramble and just fiddling with the trains now. So let's give that some power and just bring it back onto the inside line. There we go, passing that Pullman. Great fun train, perhaps not the prettiest of the Pullmans. Let's see if we can get this coming around the corner here. My nice shadow there from the lamp above. Let's see if we can just glimpse it through the elevated section here. And there we go. I think that's probably it for this time. If you look back again next time, we'll have something else from the range to look at. Goodbye now.